Times the judge had enough on paternity court.
You slept with him without protection.
Yeah, I did.
At this point, the insults are irrelevant. Because I'm telling you right now, I am furious. Y'all sitting up here acting like kids. Little boy ain't got no refrigerator. And you sitting up talking this nonsense. Court is adjourned. I'll see you in my chambers.
This case here is the downright mix of disaster and is about to push Judge Lake to the edge.
You confess that at the time you conceived your 2-year-old son, Josiah, you had sexual relations with 3 men. Now, you don't want your son to suffer for your mistakes, so you've requested paternity testing on all 3 men.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, now that we know what all sides were claiming, let's find out how it all started.
At the time, I had sex with 3 different men around the same time my son conceived. I did have a 5.5-month fling with Mr. Scott.
It was just sex, period.
That's what a fling is.
Not to me. Okay.
Mr. Sneed is in green. And then outlined in red, as you can see, is the window of conception.
How much did he pay?
Excuse me, Mr. Scott. You're gonna be respectful in this court.
When Hatcher tried to explain her fling in such a good manner, she also got to taste Lauren's medicine.
This is him. He is a disrespectful man. He is very ignorant. He's all that to me and my son.
You admitted in court today that you had a 5.5-month fling with a gentleman that can look across the aisle at you and ask you, how much does someone pay for your sexual services?
That's the reason why I wasn't with him, Your Honor. That's the reason why after the 5.5 months, I seen
5.5 months is too long.
However, Mr. Scott also had his own side of the story lined up.
I'm doubtful because she said out of her own mouth, DNA test. I didn't know nothing about her situation. When she came and told me she was pregnant, I believed her.
Baby was born, were you in the hospital?
Yes, ma'am. I was there for her.
And did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you begin to doubt whether or not you were?
She said in open court, we need to get a DNA test.
That was the first
That's
time
the first time that I ever heard question when she mentioned
Okay,
DNA.
stop.
Further, this got disclosed to the court.
Your Honor, do you know that this is the second lady, Your Honor, that has come to me, told me that I am the father of her child?
It is clear why there's doubt in this situation. That is a fact. All these men are doubtful. Mr. Blake.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sleep with Miss Hatcher on the 26th of December? That's the day after Christmas.
We got a hotel room that night. Possibility, if it's mine, I don't have a problem with taking care of mine.
Was it protected sex on that day?
We had a little alcohol, but I think so, Your Honor.
Next, Hatcher told why she believed that Mr. Blake was the father.
Now, you say you have reason to believe that Mr. Blake is the child's father.
He could be a possibility because the way my son is built, the way he's growing up.
How many people you got to test for you find out?
Okay, well,
as many as it takes in this courtroom. You say your son, you feel like he's built like Mr. Blake.
Well, he got broad shoulders like Mr. Blake, and his feet are flat. I really don't know Mr. Blake that well.
Still, what happened next still has our heads scratching.
Apartment with no stove, no working refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? And this man, he's homeless, and I let him stay out of my house at night. I don't want him to be my baby's father because he's 43 years old. He don't want to work.
But you slept with him without protection.
Yeah, I did.
At this point, the insults are irrelevant.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there's more of that coming.
Oh,
I've already defended you.
No,
if you would
I'm
listen
talking
and
about in a
stop
different
talking,
way.
you would already see you're not on trial.
No, ma'am.
You don't need to defend yourself.
No, ma'am, I have children.
Don't take care
Call
of your
him.
kids. You know
Call
you
him.
don't. You don't pay child
Call
support.
him and
You
ask
always
him.
do it.
Demeaning her.
I'm gonna let you all run your own case.
No, ma'am.
And see what kind of results you get after this, because I got the real one. So go ahead.
Oh, she is not serious. She still runs the place.
Truth be told, when this man stepped up and signed the birth certificate, then really that should have been, that's it. Because that's what babies deserve. Their mother and their father in the hospital, when they're born, signing the birth certificate and living their life. Not 2 years later, still sitting up here arguing.
That's right.
With eeny, meeny, miny, and no.
I'm sorry,
Talking
Your Honor.
about, we don't know this, and she did this, and he did this. Talking about nothing. But given this calendar, I know why he'll have doubt.
Okay, let's see if DNA results can step up to that hope.
Y'all want to go out here today and destroy your lives? There's nothing I can do. But I'm not going to sit by and watch you destroy Josiah. In the case of Hatcher v. Scott, Blake Sneed, pertaining to whether Mr. Sneed is the biological father of 2-year-old Josiah Scott, Mr. Sneed is not Josiah's father.
Now that calls for some good schooling, doesn't it?
All this eye rolling, I'm tired of all this like I don't know what I'm talking about, and you don't have had to perpetuate this whole nightmare onto your child. And as long as you disrespect him, and as long as you disrespect her, then Josiah is gonna pay for it. Cause I'm telling you right now, I am furious. Y'all sitting up here acting like kids. Little boy ain't got no refrigerator. And you sitting up talking this nonsense. Court is adjourned. I'll see you in my chambers.
Mr. Jackson is in court today to sue the defendant for paternity fraud.
Mr. Jackson, you petitioned the court for a DNA test because you believe the defendant, Ms. Elin, has committed paternity fraud by claiming you fathered her 2-year-old daughter, Jemiah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why fraud accusations? Why not denial? Well, this is why.
Because, Your Honor, I found out about this child a whole year ago.
And so what does that have to do with a paternity fraud?
Because if this was my child, I would want to be in my child's life. You supposed to let somebody know. Aaliyah picked up and took off. Never heard from her, then she started playing Facebook games.
Facebook games? What is that?
Sending me messages through Facebook, then she would block me.
You playing games, Miss Elin?
No,
Yes,
Your
she
Honor,
is.
I'm not
Yes,
playing
she
games.
is. Yes, she
no,
is.
he blocked me on
Yes, she
Facebook.
is.
He changed his phone number and everything. I actually
Yes, I
have
did.
proof.
Yes,
he
I
went
did.
ghost on me once I told him I was pregnant. He found out. He went ghost on me. I never heard from him
Yana.
again.
Okay, this is getting a little complicated, isn't it?
You're in a sexual relationship. Was that it?
That's
Were you
it.
boyfriend and girlfriend? Or
No.
This was just
No, this was just a sexual relationship.
with no commitment.
No commitment.
Just a minute ago, Mr. Jackson, you testified that you were in a relationship. Now you saying she's a jump off.
In my mind, to be honest with you, I thought we was together.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So
thought
tell
we
the
was together.
truth.
Thought
And
we was
shame the
together.
devil. Don't get in here and get your feelings hurt and now start lying.
Yeah, there ain't no lying with Judge Lake.
I thought we were in a relationship because I was doing things for her, and you thought you were building something.
Yeah, that's right, Your Honor.
And honest, Elin, I'm glad that he at least thought that, because if you just walking out of the house sleeping with men in cars every single day, day after day, and they just pull off and leave, there's got to be more to do than that.
And this let the kraken of truth out. But hey, Lauren did ask for it.
Me and him, it was just him. I was just
She was
messing
saying
around with
somebody
him.
else.
But you stay
She was
calling
saying
my
somebody
phone,
else.
calling me.
Leah, who? Explain the guy on the back porch. Who's that guy on the back porch?
Wait, I thought you was on the back porch.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
was two guys on the back porch. It was two guys on the back porch. Me and the mystery man. Time I was on the back porch, the guy will grill me.
You're just
Look at me.
jealous. You're just a jealous person. If you see someone else around, you think that I'm messing with somebody. No, that whole time we
Yeah,
were
I
just
wasn't even
having
in my
sex.
feelings
It was
at that
just
time when me and you started talking. I wasn't even in my
Hold
feelings.
on, you're making a fool
Mr.
of yourself.
Jackson,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to know, why do you feel she is not telling the truth? What do you know about the man on the back porch?
However, Judge Lauren brought up the situation back to the PG level.
She has having a relationship with this other guy.
Yes, Yana. Who ups and take off on a baby? Who ups and take off with a child?
She was up there with another man,
Yes,
and that's
I know.
why you could see her peeking out the curtain. But they were telling you she wasn't home.
Yeah, she wasn't home.
She also gave a reality check to the potential father on the stand.
That you have a baby, like a little girl in the world that could potentially be yours, even if you don't know for sure. If it was my daddy, I do want him to have that compass looking for me. That's what daddies do. And then another news flash is, when a child doesn't have a father in their life and the mother is trying to make ends meet on their own, as soon as you start telling me she moving all over the place, that lets me know this child and this mother is alone and they're at risk.
Well, there's only one solution to this problem. Let's get to that.
In the case of Jackson versus Elin, when it comes to 2-year-old Jemiah Elin, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Jackson, you are the father.
See, cheating and pettiness can surely get on anyone's nerves, and Judge Lake is no exception.
Ms. Commons, you claim the defendant has been denying your 2-year-old daughter Breeze and refuses to do anything for her. You are furious and testify that you are certain he is the father, loving father for the first 1.5 years of Breeze's life until 5 months ago when you appeared in couples court and learned Ms. Commons cheated.
When you jump from one reality show to the next, you know you've got some good drama.
You say you furious.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the court why.
Your Honor, I'm here today to prove Mr. Baker is the father of my daughter. Not only have he been there from day one, he signed her birth certificate, he went to every doctor's appointment. His family even threw her baby shower. My family, we don't need to throw baby showers because my auntie, she like well off or whatever. My thing is, for me to come, it's not right. She don't deserve that. Be here. She did not want to be your daughter. She did not want to be my daughter for that matter.
That sounds valid, but Miss Commons sort of missed the cheating part.
Mr. Baker, you have doubt.
Yes.
Explain to the court.
I got doubts because everything that come out of her mouth a lie. All the stuff she did in the past.
Never. He didn't start denying my daughter until the night I told him what I had did with my ex. That night, we still stayed in the room, we still drunk, we still had sex that night and everything. That night, you would have thought he was Tasmanian devil. He was like, B, that's not my baby. You know it ain't my baby. I'm like, what? Where did that just come from? We had a good night.
How could you explain a good night? Because she said that I cheated.
Ain't good at night. I agree too.
Is she dropped the bomb number 2, which was that she had slept with somebody else?
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
We chilling in the hot tub, jacuzzi and everything, and after Blue just came, I cheated. Hold on.
No, Jan, that's not what happened. I can tell you exactly what happened.
She like, I cheated, I stepped out. So I'm looking like, when you do it? I asked her, like, when? She talking about, I don't even remember what date, but it was too close to when Breeze, which is
was
pretty
conceived.
baby. Yeah,
That's not what happened.
Even after that revelation, Miss Commons had reason to believe that Mr. Baker was the father.
For a fact that it's his daughter.
Look.
How? Because
You
when
don't
my
know,
baby
you don't
was a
know.
little baby, she had whooping cough. When I talked to the doctor said that down the line, whooping coughs can cause some form of asthma. He walks around with his asthma pump in his pocket. He
here
has
go right
that.
here.
He pulls out the asthma pump and hit the asthma pump. That's how I know for a fact that's his daughter.
You think that because your daughter had the
So now-
whooping cough, which could develop into asthma, and Mr. Baker has asthma, that proves that he's the biological father.
But things are not that simple. And even the judge cleared that.
Thought it was appropriate to even engage in unprotected sex. This right here is a recipe for disaster. Little tit for tat mess. I say it all the time, it never works. And we as women, we never. Because we always end up with the baby. And it's always our baby and Papa's what?
Baby.
Yep. We gotta stop playing that game. We don't win. We lose, our babies lose. Why play?
Next up, a witness was brought to the court who had this to say.
State your name for the court.
My name is Darlicia Baker.
What relationship are you to Mr. Baker?
I am Brandon's oldest sister. Me and Mary been friends, best friends, for 10 years. Like she was having sex with other guys.
During the time Breeze was conceived?
Absolutely, yeah, because we would talk on the phone too, and she'd tell me like,
That's a
you
lie.
know, I just left from my friend house, dude, and she'd tell me like, oh girl, his sex wasn't about nothing, you know, like that type of stuff. So I knew for a fact that she was sleeping around.
Oh, that does not help at all. So let's move to the results.
In the case of Commons versus Baker, when it comes to 2-year-old Breeze Baker, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Baker, you are the father.
After this, Judge Lauren ended things with a real bang.
And it's not that you don't love her, it's that you don't know how to act. And when I see 2 grown people sitting up here acting a plumb fool, and sitting up here and got a beautiful blessing for a baby here, and y'all sitting around here clowning and can't get it together for this baby. Y'all so worried about whose fault it is. Oh, he was doing this and he was doing this and he was doing. I guarantee you this baby standing before me in 20 years, that's y'all's fault.
Mr. Washington has landed in paternity court because he refuses to father a child who's someone else's junior.
Mr. Washington, you claim you need today's DNA results because you were recently ordered to pay support for a child who is another man's junior, and you know you are not the father. Is that correct?
Yes.
But Miss Brown had the opposite to say.
Ms. Brown, you say you are fed up because Mr. Washington has denied your son for 4 years.
Yes.
Tell the court.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm fed up because my son is 4 years old, and I am a single parent, and I'm raising my son on my own, and I don't have no support.
4 years, Mr. Washington?
Your Honor, I do not believe DeAndre is my son at all.
The alleged baby daddy stated unequivocally that he had nothing to do with the child.
I do not believe DeAndre is my son at all, okay?
You're a lie.
And what's really frustrating is having to go to court in Michigan and pay all this money for a kid that I know isn't mine, especially seeing the situation.
You say you know definitively that DeAndre is not your biological child.
Yes.
You know that.
I know it.
You have no doubt in your mind.
No doubt.
Up next, we got a little relationship recap like this.
Washington, just to be clear and to recap, you started dating Miss Brown and you said you felt like she was inconsistent sometimes. You didn't understand why until she came to visit you. You were riding with her to a gas station and realized that all the men there knew her and were basically trying to, and it triggered something where you felt like, oh, this young woman is dating other people or also being intimate with other people as well.
When the judge asked about how Mr. Washington found out about the pregnancy, she said this.
I called Mr. Washington when I was in the hospital, and at the time I was in the hospital, he claimed he was at a job, which he never had a job.
We've determined that you're pregnant.
Yes.
The first thing you do is call Mr. Washington.
Yes. I said, hey, Ryan, I'm pregnant. And he said, what? I said, you heard me, I'm pregnant. He said, Ms. Brown, I ain't got time to talk to you right now. And I said, why not? This is your child. And he said, how do you know that? And I said, because you goofy, I've been having sex with you.
Mr. Washington had his own version of this episode. Let me show you.
This assertion, you're saying when she told you she was pregnant, you immediately said you weren't the father because you knew of other men, and you said the whole neighborhood knew?
She was not in the hospital.
I was 6 weeks
She
pregnant
was not
when
in the
I told
hospital.
you. Yes, I was.
This was,
I
when
got
she
doubt.
told me she was pregnant, it was almost too late. And
No,
at that
it
point, that's
wasn't.
what made me have the doubt. Because I said,
No,
well, the whole
no,
neighborhood
you're
knows you. So how can you be so sure
You're
that
lying.
I'm the one that got you
You're
pregnant?
lying.
Next came the conception calendar.
You count back, you say in September and October is when you were having sex consistently with Mr. Washington.
Yeah.
Count back 6 weeks, window of conception, September, October, you fall right within the time. Further, DeAndre's birthday is July 3rd.
Yes.
All of this makes sense to you.
Yes.
And so you did the math and you said, this is the person I was intimate with consistently for the months of September and October. That's why I believe Mr. Washington is DeAndre's biological father.
Quite convincing, right? Then why was the baby named after someone else?
That's accurate, Your Honor, because during this time, before Miss Brown got pregnant and through her whole pregnancy, Terriana was dating another gentleman. His name is DeAndre, the same name as the kid. DeAndre, the baby, he is a junior.
Other man, Mr. DeAndre Gray Sr., he was DeAndre's biological father.
No, I never told
That's a
him
lie.
until
Yes, you
after
did.
I
and
told
when he contacted
him no.
me, that's what he
All
said.
right.
But the other guy had this to say.
A statement from DeAndre Gray Sr. I'd like to read.
Yes.
Says, at first, I thought I was the father because Terriana, the doctors have told me I couldn't have kids for many years. I thought I was the father because Terriana told me I was. But I just asked you a minute ago, did you ever tell DeAndre Gray Sr. he was the biological father? And you said no.
Oh, caught up in a bad call, baby mama.
No, I'm serious. Take a minute, think about it, then tell me the truth.
Because I had no
Oh!
I told DeAndre Sr. that he was the father because I had no help.
He ain't the only one.
There we go. Listen, we didn't come all this way to lie.
Yes.
This handsome child is 4 years old,
Yes.
still dealing with a question of paternity over his head. We didn't come here to lie.
No.
So if that's the
No.
truth, then say it.
Yes, it
The
is.
truth is you did tell DeAndre Gray Sr. he was the biological father.
Yes.
And lies like these definitely call for the true slap of results.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Washington, you are the father.
But wait for it. Paternity session is not done yet.
You said to me that once he rejected you when you told him this was your child, you said, I didn't want to be alone.
Yes, I did.
And even wrong, right, or indifferent, that was your truth. And I knew that. And even though you have weaved a web of hot messness, I mean, really, this has been a mess. For 4 years, this child has suffered for no reason. This did not have to happen. It's because he couldn't come to court and you were scared to be alone, and now the child is suffering for it.
Philip's mother is in court because her grandmother refuses to accept her as her grandchild.
Miss Phillips, you claim that you are certain the defendant's deceased son, Philip Daniels, is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, a miracle, phenomenal Daniel.
Yes.
You believe today's results will prove what you already know, that a miracle is her grandchild. Is that correct?
Yes.
On the other hand, Grandma at the altar was not ready to believe it.
You claim that the plaintiff is both a liar and a cheat. You say your doubts began the moment your son told you himself that he was not the father, and you are here today to defend his honor. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Because she knows she's a liar and a cheater.
The baby mama, right in the beginning, disclosed her intentions like this.
My daughter needs the death benefit for her father.
Your child is in need of support,
And I can support her myself. I have a job.
you say he's not the father. Why don't you believe Miss Phillips' daughter is your son's biological child?
Because he said it. He called,
When?
she brought another guy to my house. He answered the phone plenty of times where there was another young man on the phone talking to
When?
him.
Next, we found out about Miss Phillips dabbing and dabbing around.
Why you believe Miss Phillips may have been dipping and dabbing.
Because I was there that time when she had brought a young man to my house and he got very upset and they was bickering over the phone and stuff like that. So he hung up and he was asking her like, so who was this guy? And she was like, ain't no guy called my phone. That wasn't no guy. So he went back to the number. She was like, well, I talk to him every now and then.
That man was about 40-some years old. What I'm gonna do with
That
him?
was another lie.
Miss Williamson also claimed that her own son doubted paternity.
Miss Williamson, you say his response is she's claiming she's pregnant by me.
Right.
First, he didn't even believe she was pregnant.
No.
When?
What does he say to you?
He told you that he don't believe that it's his child.
And why
She
did
been
he
dipping
tell
and
you that?
dabbing.
When?
Because she been dipping and dabbing.
When?
Miss Williamson, did he ever find out that she had slept with somebody else?
Yeah, because she told him.
And the grandma also brought proof to the court.
I never
Terry said he wasn't
So
the father.
I gotta. So you never said that he wasn't the dad.
What is that?
A fake page that they made when
you
I
don't
was
say
first
I made this
pregnant.
page.
Jerome, hand me that. This is a post from Risa Phillips. Little Phil, not my baby daddy. Somebody help me find who my kid's daddy is, please.
So, all of this palooza made Judge Lake go like this.
This is ridiculous.
I don't like her.
We can tell that.
I don't like her.
The baby, a miracle.
Exactly
That's who
what
I'm
she
here
is.
for.
And that's exactly what she is.
Because you all can go, and her talking about, I don't like her either. That's petty and that's silly because it has nothing to do with a miracle. Nothing. Because she's already here. She's already a living, breathing person.
Which did not just end there.
We're already at a point where we have a tragedy.
here
This
for
young
some
man
money that
lost
she's
his
not gonna
life. Your son has lost his life. If this baby is his, so now you don't care.
Now you don't care. What's baby by, period?
No. But hold on. Too many people talking.
After this, Judge Lake called up Miss Williamson's other son as a witness, who also believes that his brother was being deceived.
Mr. Randall, so your brother did have doubts that he expressed to you explicitly that he didn't know if this child was his biological child.
Yes, ma'am. But you know, we all have our doubts, so that's why we're here now.
Mama,
so
baby,
we can get
Papa's
to the
baby.
bottom of this.
So the stakes are very high for this baby. If your son is her biological father, she'll never know him.
Correct.
So, let's wrap this drama up with results.
In the case of Phillips versus Williamson, when it comes to 3-month-old A Miracle, Phenomenal Daniels, the percentage of relatedness between A Miracle, Phenomenal Daniels, and Toya Williamson is 99.8%.
I told you. I know exactly who my baby daddy is.